By the time when Pharos and Orgos reached the forest, it's already got quite dark. Fortunately, it was a full moon that day, so they were illuminated by the bright moonlight, allowing them to see their surroundings clearly. The two of them slowed their horses, and approached the entrance to the forest.
"So, what should we do now?"
said Orgos, squinting his eyes and looking out into the forest.
"I wonder if the old woman will come all the way here to pick us up? It will be very difficult to find her, in this vast forest. Why don't we warm ourselves up here for now? It's going to get cold soon, and if we get lost in the dark, we'll be in trouble."
What Orgos said was true. It's dangerous to wander through the forest at night. There is a possibility of being attacked by animals such as wolves. As Pharos nodded back, trying to suppress his sense of urgency, suddenly the horses took off galloping into the forest. The two of them were nearly thrown off, but they hung on desperately. Once they entered the forest, the horses galloped ferociously through the trees along the untrodden path with determination. They crouched down to cling to the horses, to avoid hitting their heads on tree branches. Well, it's about time they got here. An old woman, sitting in a chair in a hut, which stood quietly in a clearing deep in the forest, suddenly opened her eyes wide and muttered. Torches were lit throughout the room, brightly illuminating the inside of the hut. It was a simple room with a wooden table, and 4 chairs placed around it. And there were glass containers filled with liquid medicine, lined up on shelves along the wall. Logs were burning in the stove at the back, and on top of it, soup was simmering away. The old woman rose to her feet, leaning on her cane as she approached the shelf, and carefully examined the containers with her hand. When she found what she was looking for, she poured the liquid into the boiling soup and said, "I have no doubt with my clairvoyance. That young man will nail it. And then I will get my power back, and regain my youth and beauty." As she laughed out loud, she heard the sound of a galloping horse in the distance. "Oh, it looks like they've arrived quickly." The old woman grinned, and she approached to the front door. After a while, the horse finally slowed down. Pharos raised his head and gazed forward. There, a vacant lot spread out before them, illuminated by the full moon, like a spotlit theater. Behind that, a hut with a lit lantern stood isolated.
"The old woman must be in that hut,"
Orgos said, as he drew up beside Pharos. Pharos nodded silently. The old woman said, she had lost her power, but it was undoubtedly her mysterious powers that allowed her to control the horses and bring them here. Pharos had thought, he had mentally prepared himself, but as the story the old woman told began to ring true, Pharos felt a chill run down his spine. They found a suitable tree to tie their horses to, and headed for the hut. Just as Pharos was about to knock on the front door, it suddenly opened from inside. In front of the surprised pair, stood an old woman with her back hunched, and eyes shining white. "Welcome, please come in." The two were ushered into a room, and sat down in chairs, as instructed by the old woman. There was meal and wine prepared on the table, since they were probably hungry. Though they were impatient, the two were hungry and readily accepted the offer. The soup, made with lots of meat and vegetables, was a rare treat for the two of them. After filling their stomachs with sumptuous food, and sipping the fine wine that had been prepared for them, the two of them calmed down somewhat.
"Well, then, let us hear what your plan is. What should we do now?"
Pharos asked, holding a glass of wine. "Well, there's no need to be in such a hurry. You must be tired today, so take it easy and get some rest." The old woman said, sitting in front of Pharos, and resting both hands on her cane.
No, we can't afford to be so leisurely. Emalua has collapsed, and is unconscious. She may be in a dangerous condition, so please tell me what we need to do. I want to get started right away.
The old woman then grinned, and quietly shook her head. The girl is still okay. She won't recover unless the curse is lifted, though. But that doesn't mean she'll die right away. Besides, it's too late now. You should get some rest today, for tomorrow. Hearing that, Pharos felt a little relieved. The old woman said she could no longer use magic, but it was obvious that she had magical powers. And since the old woman says she's fine, then Emalua must be fine. Just as he felt relieved, he was suddenly overcome by drowsiness. He felt his body so heavy. Apparently, the same was true for Orgos. He has been blinking his eyes repeatedly, for a while now. Seeing the two of them like that, the old woman said, "Oh boy, you two seem to be pretty tired. Have a good night's sleep." As he listened to the old woman's loud laughter, Pharos's consciousness gradually faded away. As his consciousness faded, the old woman's words echoed in his head. "Listen, you're going to go into deep as far as you can, as best as you can. When you finally reach the end of the world, bring back the shining black dragon stone. It's not a red or blue, it's a black stone. If you make a mistake, you and all those you care about will lose their lives. All you have to do is just bring back the dragon stone. With that stone power, we'll be able to kill Altasia. And then, your beloved girl's life will be saved." He.